All right, well, good afternoon. I wanted to talk to you about FreightSight, which is a better way to track commercial freight. My name's Andy. This is for the Innovation Studio assignment in my business design. So what are we actually trying to solve here? And so let me actually pull this up properly. Here we go. So what are we actually trying to solve? If you think about how you order something from Amazon or from UPS or maybe one of your favorite websites, typically what they'll do is they will give you a tracking code and the general information about how it's going to be shipped. And you can put that in a website and you can see on a map how that's progressing along as it makes its way to your house or wherever you have that package sent to. For individual freight for small parcels, they've kind of got this figured out. But when it comes to commercial freight, this is still an issue, and there's a low capability for companies that ship manufacturing and heavy equipment and larger size freight to actually track those shipments as they move from point A to point B. And despite the fact that the technology is there, it's a compliance and systemic issue. So that's what we're trying to solve is how do we actually track and manage accurately shipments within the commercial freight space. So our solution is actually to provide a blockchain-enabled premier tracking service for shippers to track and manage their freight overall. So there's a number of different components to this. And really from the customer's perspective, whether it be the shipper or the receiver, really what they want is similar to that UPS code or that Amazon code. They want that web-based tool that they can just click on, look to see where their freight is, look what the updates are, and then they can adjust their business manufacturing practices, their production, whatever the case may be, to that new information. But it's all about better information and better data into the customer's hand and actually giving them good tracking. And we think one of the major issues with tracking and this within the space is actually carrier compliance. So what we've done here is we've actually built incentives into the system for the carriers to get paid more if they track and manage their shipments on time. And there's a variety of different communication technologies that go in here. But most importantly, the carrier is going to be required to send updates to our blockchain-enabled EMS all throughout the duration of their transit. And once they do that, and they track properly, and they show that their shipment has been delivered on time within the parameters our customers set, they'll get paid a premium, for example, plus 5% or plus 10% on their invoice for that proper tracking and tracing of their shipments. So that gives the carrier an incentive to actually use the technology, and it gives the customer the ability to pay a premier rate to actually get that information as it's being useful. Because oftentimes within the shipping space, the shipment you need tracked is not tracking because there's an issue with it, it's late, or there's something that the carrier might not want to share with their end customer. So who's our target market? Really, it's two main components. It's not only shippers of commercial freight, that can be the manufacturing facility that's sending things out between its facilities or to its end customers, but it's also a third-party logistics provider who manage commercial freight and want to provide that additional level of visibility to their end customers. Our business model is fairly simple. There's a fixed subscription amount that you would pay to be part of this service, and it's an automated service using our platform, and you can pay an additional fee if you want to have an account manager that can run data and analytics for you. And that's based on a fixed subscription amount. And in addition to that, there's a fee for each individual shipment that runs through the TMS. And that ultimately generates anywhere from 100,000 to 600,000 revenue per account per month, based on the volume, the service parameters, and other negotiables that will be discussed on a client-by-client basis. There's a number of significant costs required for this to include implementation and testing teams, analysts for the Premier data support. A couple of others that come to mind also are sales professionals to actually go out, consult with our customers, and determine what their needs are and build a pricing model based on their requirements. And then there's some major relationships we'll have to build to include Oracle and SAP for data connectivity. That can be anything from API to EDI connections, banking and ACH transfers for the purposes of invoicing. And then we want the actual IoT tracking technology that's tied to the freight that's actually going to transmit to our blockchain-enabled TMS. Key competitors in the space, there are a number of companies already doing this type of service that are attempting to track commercial freight. That ranges from everything from pure play firms such as Four Kites or Project 44 who are exclusively working on this problem, but it also includes third-party logistics provider who have their own technology such as CH Robinson that they use to track and manage freight and show to their customers what's being tracked. All of these solutions work to a degree, but they negate the issue of ultimately carrier compliance. And there's no carrier incentive for any of these to actually use the technology, track properly, and there's no actual pay incentive associated with this other than potentially a theoretical scorecard. Additionally, the blockchain technology will enable us to track the actual departure and arrival times so that there's an ultimate source of truth as to where that shipment is, and it'll help us determine whether or not they should get paid that additional premium. So I appreciate you taking the time to go over this. My name is Andy. Again, if you're interested or you want to talk more about this, please take a look at the site and you can find out how to reach me there. Thanks.